Did JPMorgan just put the top in for the stock market as we had a second day of stocks selling off? We come over and look at the fear and greed index. We are sitting at 48. Now we are closer towards fear than we are to greed. Should we be concerned with the news coming out tomorrow? And was today nothing more than a buying opportunity in front of tomorrow's CPI data, which comes out at 8:30 a.m.? Now, when we look at how the indices fared across the board, the Dow was down 154 points. The NASDAQ was down 49 points. S&P 500 down 17 points, with the Russell 2000 being down 0.93. Now, when we look at advancing issues versus declining, notice today we had 65.5% of issues declining on the day. Then we come over and look at the sectors across the board. Only two sectors were in the green: communication services and consumer defensives. Everything else was in the red. Real estate by far was the laggard, followed by technology. And we can start to see that we're starting to see a shift in the market. For instance, we come over and look at NVIDIA. It was down today 2.73%. And again, this was one of the AI hype, the leaders. It will never go down. Well, you're right. It will never go down until it finally does. We come over and take a look at Meta today. Meta was actually able to close up in the green, $5.94. Google today also had a big, large gap out there today, up $9.44. But that's just a few of the stocks that actually did well. There was way more doing a lot worse. When we look at the dollar index today, dollar index on the rise once again. Then when we look at gold, we would expect gold to actually start coming down a little bit lower with the dollar going up. And now gold is threatening possibly breaking out that swing point, which could set the ABC pattern on the way up, taking us right back near all-time highs in the stock market. Now, with the stock market going down today, we also saw yields back on the rise once again. And we look at crude oil, basically flat, still stuck in this lower level consolidation. We cannot get out of its own way. To me, this smells like we have a demand issue, aka economies around the world are most certainly starting to slow down. And let's talk about this real quick. JPMorgan finally turns bullish on US stocks. Are they too late to the party? And if you guys remember a little while back in 2022, when the stock market was selling off, JPMorgan was actually bullish right here near the top, rode it all the way down. And then as the stock market started to bottom, JPMorgan turned bearish, and then that ended up being the low for the rally back up. So we really got to ask ourselves this question. Now that JPMorgan is going bullish again, is this setting the stage that we are now going to enter a corrective phase in the market? Depending on how this week candles closes, right now it's looking like we have a 1-2 reversal, and we'll see, does this basically give us the heads up that we are likely going to go substantially lower? On Sunday, I gave you guys a trade idea and basically said that it triggered looking at the footprint charts. Now, last night I said essentially, given that the delta increased to 195,000, I would actually put my stop loss at the entry price, which was the low from the prior day. Well, if you look at the delta again today on the footprint chart, even though we had a down day in the market, we had more positive delta. It came in at 375,000, which is greater than 195. So that sets the stage. Maybe this is actually going to be a buy signal. And with that being said, that would be an instance where I'd want to go ahead and close the trade out at pre-market or at bare minimum. Make sure I move my stop loss closer towards the point of control from yesterday, somewhere in the ballpark of 605, trying to secure some of those profits. But again, we got to be mindful of what could be in store for tomorrow, because when that CPI data comes out, it's going to come out before the market is open. Now, if we look at the S&P real quick on the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator already crossed to the downside, working its way down towards the zero line. However, we come over and look at the 30-minute chart. Notice we have a nice hammer candle at the low. So is this nothing more than a buying opportunity? Even if we get what could be a negative CPI report, does the market maybe overshoot the lows and then that ends up being a buying opportunity? Or is it going to be option number two? The CPI data comes out better than expected and stocks actually sell off on a better than expected number. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, if you want a way to support the channel and you trade with prop firms like Apex, My Funded Futures, or even Take Profit Trader, use the links in the description box down below. Now, when we come over and look at the futures markets real quick on the 4-hour chart, one of the areas that we talked about today on the live stream was, are we going to make it back down towards about 6,046 in this minus development area? Well, you know what? The market was a little bit of an overachiever, actually went a little bit lower, now trying to work its way on the way back up. Now you can see clearly we are below last week's value area low. And let's not forget, we still have an untested point of control down here at about 6,015. As we come over and look at the daily profiles real quick, notice we made it down towards S1 today. And as we look at this, right now it appears we may close below value area low, which comes in at 6,056.50. That sets the stage. We are likely either tonight, aka tomorrow, or the following day when the point of control is slightly above that at 6,062.5. Value area high being 6,073.00. Now, when we come over, we start looking at the NASDAQ real quick, the QQQs. Notice we still have not been able to come back over and fill the gap, and we are working our way down there. We're just not there yet. On the daily chart, the MACD indicator is not crossed bearish yet. On the 4-hour chart, you can see we're back within this range, and that really sets the stage. We're likely to go back to the bottom of this rising channel. Then when we come over and we start looking at the 30-minute chart, MACD indicator is below the zero line, but right above us, actually where price is after hours, we're right back in this minus development area. And regardless what analysis we do right here, right now, a lot is going to change tomorrow once that data is released. Once the CPI data is released, I expect we're going to get some outsized moves in the stock market. Now, when we come over and start looking at the 4-hour chart, we have now tested the top of this minus development area, and we've been talking about this level throughout the week. And also in Sunday's video, I gave out this level. I said it's highly probable this week we're going to test that level. Now, if you guys ever join me during the live stream, we talk about the first time we come into a minus development area, we expect the market to either bounce or consolidate around that area. Well, in this case, you can see we're already starting to get the bounce. If we come into this area a second or third time, expect that area to break. And at that point, we're probably going to come down towards that point of control at 21,221.00. Now, if you want to make sure you don't miss the next time I go live, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on for all. Now, as we come over and look at the 30-minute volume profile levels real quick, notice right now we are currently below value area low, which comes in at 21,441.75. That sets the stage that it's highly probable that tomorrow or the following day, we are going to come back and test that area. We have the point of control slightly higher at 21,469.75, with value area high being all the way up here at 21,569.25. So here's going to be the MO. If we get above value area low, watch out for the point of control to get tested. Watch for the market to possibly move up higher up towards value area high. And then we'll see, can we start working on possibly making another new all-time high? With a 2-day sell-off in the market, a lot of people are going to be thinking the stock market has to come crashing lower. Well, I got to remind you guys, the market does not have to do anything. We come over and we look at the Russell 2000. Today, we didn't quite make it down towards filling that next gap, but we are getting closer and closer. The Dow Jones, however, was able today to come down to a 38% retracement, fill the gap right over here. Now, the question is, are we going to get a deeper retracement? Is this bounce that we're starting to see after hours going to be nothing more than a trap for the bulls and send the market back lower? Now, so tomorrow, after the CPI data comes out, we're going to have a lot more information. And at that point, we can see how the market is essentially trading throughout the value areas. Meaning, are we below value area low and staying below that price point? Or are we above value area high, trying to go ahead, push up higher in the market? Now, if you want to see how to track your trailing drawdown within prop firms using Trade make sure to watch this video right here.